Everyone is doing well. Today's target is to solve illustration number 1 at as it is actually associated with two major things. First is journal and then ledgers. Since it's the first time we are tackling ledgers, so it's a good time to learn how to make ledgers. Two steps are included in this process, and you can see in our question the first line is over here, and what this first line is saying, enter the following transaction into journal. So this is our first step. We will post all the entries into the journal and then post them into ledgers. Just consider yourself as a beginner, as a starter, and consider that you know nothing about ledger, you know nothing about journal. So we will start like a beginner. So what is these different statements given in the question? January 1 we are related with, and we have these many transactions over here. This is simple layman English language which is explaining the detail of any transaction. Now you will ask, what is transaction? Transaction means give and take of a particular thing. When something is going out and in return something is coming in, it would be called a transaction. For example, if you want to buy a watch, so what will be going out? You will be paying, that means amount is going out and you are receiving your watch. So going out is cash, receiving is something. It means you have made a transaction. Let's say you want to sell your bike. So bike you will provide to your buyer, and in return you will be receiving cash. It means cash is coming in and bike is going out. Again, it's a transaction. Let's say you have purchased a machine is coming in, cash is going out. Again, it's a transaction. So transaction mean what you have done in terms of money. So detail of these transactions are given here. This is raw data, and actually we will not be able to conclude anything with the raw data. It's simple English. Like, if you can see, in last transaction we have paid salaries for rupees 10,000. So it's a simple information, simple data which is provided by organization or which is provided by your boss. As an accountant, you have received this data, and now it's your responsibility to convert into a usable information. And how we will convert these transaction into usable information, that's we have already described, that we will make journal entries and then we will convert into ledgers. And second thing is, we have this journal, and this is pattern where you can put your date, particulars, rupees and rupees. What are these things? Here you can see there are two lines, and after two lines there is an underline which is separating to the next entry. It means every transaction when we are recording into journal will have two aspects, one on debit side, one on credit side. For the time being, what you will say, whatever is coming in you may write on debit side in on first line, and whatever is going out you may write on credit side. This first line is called debit side. There is no meaning of debit, it's just the name of first line in journal. And second line is credit line. So these are just the names of the lines. Debit means first line of journal, credit means second line of journal, and on debit side what you will say, what you will write, whatever is coming in you will write on debit side, and what is going out you can write on credit side. This is the first thing. But at the same time we can have a proper pattern. There are two things. If there is an asset or if there is an expense, you will write it on debit side, and if there is an income or liability, you may write it on credit side. As we are actually focusing upon ledgers, so I may assume that you already know these rules. On debit side we write asset and expense, on credit side we write income and liability. So for the time being I'm assuming that these rules you people are familiar with. Otherwise we can have another session, another lecture where we will understand this. Anyhow, so we will now going to start our journal entries. Four transactions are given in our question, 4 to 5 transactions, and we will start with the January one. What it is saying: Jameel or Javed started business with cash. Javed is a name of a person, that may be the owner or the partner. Mr. Javed started business with cash. Now here please try to understand, you are making these accounts on behalf of business or businessman. This is the question which may be asked. If you are making these journal entries, on whom behalf you are making, or on whom behalf you are recording these transaction. Either you are working for your business or you are working for your businessman. So as an employee, when you will see, there are two aspects. You are sitting in business premises and you are recording business transaction, but salary you are receiving is from your boss, which is a business person. Now from now you will understand that whenever you are recording your transaction, you will be focusing upon your business. You are employee of business, you are not employee of businessman. In this way it's so what I was saying is, you are an employee of business, you are not an employee of businessman. This way it would be easier for you to understand what is coming in and what is going out. So here cash is invested by owner of the business into the business. Mr. Javed is owner of the business. He had started business with cash. It means when you are focusing upon the business, when you will consider yourself as part of business, not as an employee of businessman, then you can understand we are receiving cash. On the other hand, when you will be focusing upon Mr. Javed, who is owner of the business, on his behalf cash is going out. While as a business, when you are sitting in the business and when you are focusing business, you will understand that cash is coming in. Cash is your asset. It means asset is increasing. Increase in asset should be written on debit side, so you will write cash on debit side. Any amount which is received as an investment from the owner is called capital, and capital is considered as liability of the business. Liability should be written on credit side, so you will write capital on credit side. This was for first date, and that was January 1. So now you are needed to write your date, which is January 1. Put that date in date column. How much cash you have received is 1 lakh rupees. So now you will be writing 1 lakh rupees on first line, which is for debit side, and you are supposed to write the same amount on credit side as well. As in accounting, debit and credit side would always be equal. So if you will write anything on debit side, same amount would be written on credit side. This way first journal entry has been completed. Now let's see what 2nd January has. He purchased furniture. He purchased furniture for rupees 20,000. He means owner is purchasing but on behalf of business. So when a business is buying furniture, it means furniture is coming in. Furniture is your asset. Asset should be written on debit side. Since you are buying this furniture, it means there is an increase in asset. Increase in asset should also be mentioned on debit side. So you will write furniture on debit side as your asset is increasing. When you will buy furniture, what will be going out? If you are buying furniture, cash you are going to pay. It means cash is going out. That means your cash in hand is decreasing. Decrease in cash in hand means decrease in asset. Decrease in asset should be mentioned on credit side, so you will mention cash on credit side. What was the date of 2nd January is the date, so you will put January 2nd over here. And how much amount you have spent to purchase furniture? This is mentioned over here, 20,000. So write down 20,000 on debit side. And what I was saying, 20,000 if you are writing on debit side, then same amount you are supposed to write on credit side as well. This will be your routine, and this will be same procedure for every journal entry you are putting. And one thing more, you are picking these transactions given in the question and you are recording in journal. So this process is called journalizing. What in first entry you have done? You have journalized first transaction and then you have journalized second transaction. The process is called journalizing. After second entry, let's see what is next. That is January 3. Put date first. It's Jan 3. And let's see what Jan 3 is saying to us. He purchased goods of rupees 60,000. Again, we are buying, it means something is coming in, and that is good. You have bought commodities, merchandises, goods. These are business goods. If you are selling books and books are being bought, it means you are buying goods. So goods, merchandises and commodities are business goods, and if you are buying, that means goods are coming in, and goods are your near assets. Asset is increasing. Increase in asset should be mentioned on debit side. So you were supposed to write goods over here, but here I would like to make you understood that we do not write goods in accounting. We write working in place of it. So what working we are doing over here? We are purchasing. So you will use the word buy or purchase over here instead of goods. Goods, I was saying we do not write goods in accounting. So it is now unnecessary to be written over here. These goods were written just to give you the reference. Now you may erase it or you may write it just for the reference. Goods were purchased, and how you will purchase these goods, how you will buy anything, you will have to pay. That means cash will be going out, cash in hand would be decreasing. Cash in hand is your asset, asset is decreasing, decrease in asset should be mentioned on credit side. So you will write cash on credit side. This was entry for January 3rd, and January 3rd entry's amount is 60,000. So you will put 60,000 on debit side, and same amount you are supposed to write on credit side. All right, January 3rd entry is completed. Now see what is in January 5. He sold goods for cash. So our entry is sold good for cash. When you are selling something, it means you will receive cash. Cash is your asset. As you will receive cash, your cash in hand would be increase. Increase in cash in hand means increase in asset. Increase in asset should be written on debit side. So you will write cash on debit side. As you are selling your goods, so goods are going out, goods are your near asset. That means asset is going out, asset is decreasing, decrease in asset should be mentioned on credit side. So you were supposed to write goods over here, but in accounting, as in previous entry we were mentioning it, goods are not written in accounting. In place of goods we write working, and now here working is different. In previous entry you were buying goods, so you replaced goods by purchase, and now you are selling goods, so you will write the word sale, which is working over here. Goods were written just for the reference, and now it is unnecessary to be written over here. You may erase it. So goods are going out, and for goods you have mentioned the word sale, as we are involved in the working of sale in this journal entry. Let's see what was the date. It was January 5. So put January 5 on date column. How much amount we have received by selling goods? It is mentioned 80,000 over here. So write down 80,000 on debit side and put the same amount on credit side as well. So January 5th entry is completed. Now see what is January 6 is saying. He paid salaries for 10,000. As you are paying, Paying means your cash is going out. Cash is your asset, mean cash in hand is decreasing. Cash in hand is decreasing, mean asset is decreasing. Decrease in asset should be mentioned on credit side. So you are going to write cash on credit side. For what purpose you are paying this cash is salaries. Salaries are your expenses. Expense should be mentioned on debit side. So you will name your salaries on debit side. The date was January 6. So put date over here, January 6. And now how much amount you have paid for the salaries? It is mentioned here as 10,000. So put 10,000 on debit side, and same amount you are supposed to write on credit side. So here there were 6 entries, and all of the 6 entries are recorded over here in our journal. These 6 entries we have journalized. The basic purpose of today's lecture is to see how to make ledgers. For ledger we must have our journal entries. Journal entries are completed. Now we will make ledger. How many ledgers we are making and how these ledgers are made, for that purpose just take a short break. We will come back and we will see making of ledgers. Guys, we have completed our journal entries, and I would like to share one other aspect as well. There are 3 lines included in journal. First line is called debit and second line is called credit, but there is a third line as well. That third line is called narration. Narration means you will just put a short story about the transaction which is already given in the book. You can choose 2, 3, 4, 5 words and you would be writing over here. For example, if you have made any entry like salaries and to cash over here, this was your journal entry. On third line, you will narrate as salaries paid. Just 2, 3, 4, 5 words, and this is called narration. Why we are not writing narration over here? It is just because we are focusing upon the ledgers. Our main focus is not journal, so we can skip it just to save the time. So journal entries are completed. It's now time to put these journal entries into the ledger. How many ledgers we will make? How amounts would be posted into the ledger? And what are the rules for posting journal entries into the ledger? There may be several other questions in your mind. For that purpose, very first step is to see how to draw lines for the ledger. Here I have already drawn the ledgers and you are in need to understand this. This is your ledger and you can see there is a debit side and a credit side. On debit side you can see date, particulars, references cash, date, particular, reference and amount, and you may write here amount as well instead of cash. You can write cash as well, you can write rupees, you can write amount, but the main thing is you are dividing this side as debit. So here is your debit side with amount, and you can see same headings are given on the right side, but the side is changed and this is credit side. Lines are already written over here, and you will try to understand that this side on the left is debit and this side on the right is credit. So the very first thing is to see how to put line. Here you can take a screenshot over here and try to make lines first. Do your practice well and understand how to draw ledger. And second question is how many ledgers we will make. Please try to understand if you have any word different to each other, ledger would be made. For example, you have cash, ledger would be made. You have capital, yes, ledger would be made. Furniture, yes, ledger would be made. Cash we have already counted. Purchase, yes, ledger would be made. Sale, salaries. So any name, any element present on the journal, we will make ledger for that particular element. So we are going to start of making cash journal first. What the first step is, here you will put the name of ledger. Since we are making cash ledger, the very first ledger is cash. Next question, how would you put these journal entries into ledger? When you are making your ledger, you have put the name of ledger and the ledger is cash. So only those entries where cash is present, you will pick those entries. You will pick those entries where cash is present. And if cash is not present in any entry, you are not going to put that particular entry in cash ledger. Like we have January 1st entry, there are two elements, cash and capital. And since we are making cash ledger, cash is present over here, so we will pick it. At which side cash is written? It's on debit side. 1 lakh has been written on the debit side, so you will put amount 1 lakh rupees on debit side. Have you seen? I'm putting amount first. Now second is to write reference in particulars. What is reference? As you are making ledger of cash, it is written on the debit side. Whatever will be written on the opposite side, what is written on the opposite side, that is capital, would be used as reference. So you will write in the same manner. 2 capital was written in journal, you have written 2 capital over here. Now what was the date? Date was January 1, so you will put 1 over here. January is also be required to be written, but just 1 is enough, as every entry over here is related to January. So we are making ledgers for single month. You may put January 1 over here, or just 1 would also be enough. In this way, this first entry has been completed. As there was only one element to be posted, that was cash, we have posted it. Now see what is in second entry. We have 2 elements, but only one element is associated with the cash, as we are making what? Cash ledger. So we are searching and focusing upon the cash second entry, where cash is credited with 20,000, and you will go to the credit side and will put amount first. Now have you noticed, again I'm putting amount first. Please make the same strategy for yourself as well. 20,000 cash was credited, we have put the amount, and now it's time to give the reference. What is written on the opposite side of cash? That is furniture. So you would be putting furniture in particular column. Here I would like to introduce an additional word of buy. Whatever you will write in particulars on credit side, you will put an additional word of buy. For every element you will write in particular column, you will use buy. So 2 entries are completed. In second entry, cash was credit. We have posted this cash on credit side. Now it's time to put your date. Date was 2. So here is 2 would be put, 2 we have put in date column. In this way, second entry has also completed. Now we are on third entry. There are 2 elements, but only one element is associated with cash, which is credited by 60,000. So go to the credit side and write down amount first in amount column, that is 60,000. It's time to put the reference. What is written on the opposite side of cash? This entry we are doing. What is written on the opposite side? That is purchase. So write down purchase here with an additional word of buy. Put purchase over here. So here purchase is written, and what is its reference date? That is 3. Write down 3 in date column. Third entry has also completed. We are now on fifth entry, and fifth entry is having 2 elements, cash and sales. But since we are making ledger of cash, we will be focusing on cash only. Cash is debited by 80,000. We will go to the debit side and will write 80,000 over here. Have you seen? Rule is very simple. You are looking cash. If cash is debit, we are choosing debit side. If cash is credit, we are choosing credit side. That's so simple. 80,000 we have posted. In 80,000 entry, what is written on the opposite side? That is sales. So you will put 2 sales as a reference over here. What was 80,000 entries date? That was 5. So put 5 in date column. After completion of fifth entry, we are on January 6, where there are two elements, but only one element to be posted, that is cash. It is credited by 10,000. So we will go to the credit side, put 10,000 in amount column, and for reference, see what is written on the opposite side, that is salaries. So you are going to write salaries over here as a reference. What is its date? That is January 6. Put 6 over here. So this way all journal entries regarding cash has been completed. It means posting in ledger has been completed. It's time to balance it. So since we are balancing for the first time, please do your all abilities focus to understand how we will do balance. For this purpose, you will put total of debit side in a rough column. Whatever is written on debit side, you are needed to take sum of all amounts present on debit side. There were two amounts, so you have summed up these two amounts. It is SUM. So this is sum of debit side, and same you will be doing for your credit side as well. And this is rough work. You are not required to do it in ledger directly. This is your sum of credit side. First step is completed. What you have done? Sum of debit side, sum of credit side. First step. Now second step is you will leave one line after completion of all entries to be posted in ledger. You will leave one line, and after one line you will put total over here. Here which total you will post? Total of debit side is 180,000, total of credit side is 90,000. Step 1 completed. Now make comparison. Which amount is the larger amount, 180 or 90? 180,000 is the larger amount, so what you will do, you will write larger amount on total of debit side, and you will be putting the same larger amount on total of credit side as well. Now here you will ask a question. Total of credit side was 90,000. So we have put 180,000 over here. Why it's not the actual total of credit side? This is the method of balancing, and here you will balance this. Whatever amount which is less than 180,000 you will put over here, which is the smaller side. Step number 1, total of both sides. Step number 2, put larger total on both sides. Step number 3, you will balance. How much amount is less than 180,000 at credit side? Method is very simple. What you will do, you will subtract 9 smaller amount from the larger amount. Larger amount is 180,000 and you will subtract smaller amount, which is 90,000. Here is the way to balance. You will go to the smaller side, and whatever is amount less than the larger amount, you will put it on the smaller side and will name it as balance. This is your balance which you have calculated, and now it's time to put here as put two lines in front of total and make it like highlighted, and same two lines you will be putting over here. This is your total of debit side, mark it. And the last step is you have calculated this balance and you are in need to brought down it. And how you will brought down? It is written on credit side, brought down it to the opposite side. Please note it down very carefully. The balance which you have calculated was on credit side and you will brought down it onto the debit side. And here you will write to balance, and beside it you will write brought down, and same amount you will be writing over here, which is 90,000. So in this way your ledger for cash account has been completed. Here you can mark it as it has been completed. These amounts are no longer required. You can erase these amounts, and here please verify yourself that how to make ledger. We have completed one ledger, and that was cash ledger. So next step, cash ledger has been completed and we are in need to make ledger of capital. As I have said, whatever the number of elements are present in journal, you have to make ledgers of all those elements. Cash ledger is completed. So what you will do, you will now be making ledger of capital. For that, you are going to write everything again. Here is your second ledger, and name of second ledger is little different. You are making now ledger for capital. So put name of capital over here, remaining everything is same. This is your second ledger. First ledger you had made for cash, second ledger you are making for the capital. Have you observed all headings are similar? All headings on credit side similar, all headings on debit side is similar, method is similar. Now let's start of putting entries regarding capital. So January 1st entry, we have two elements. Since we are making capital, only one entry is associated with our ledger. Capital is credited by 1 lakh rupees. So you will choose credit side, will put amount 1 lakh rupees over here. Now see the reference, it was first entry. In first entry, capital has been posted. What is written on the opposite side? That is cash. So you will put cash in particular columns with an additional word of buy. What was its date? It was January 1. Put January 1 in date column. Now surprisingly, you can see we are making ledger of capital, and what we have decided, no matter in what entry you will see the capital, that would be posted. But what is surprise for us? Nothing else where capital is present. All 6 entries we can see capital was present in only one entry, in entry number 1, and nothing is present in all the entries of the question. It means posting of capital has been completed. When you were making cash ledger, there were so many entries. Have you seen over here? There were so many entries, and you have written all of the entries related to cash. While making capital ledger, you are now looking, there is only one entry which has already been posted, so it's time to balance it. Do you remember what is the method of balancing? Step 1 was to write down the total. Here there is nothing, the total of debit side is 0, and on credit side there is only amount, so total would be the similar. This work would be done as rough work. Total of credit side is 1 lakh, total of debit side is 0. Now make comparison, which total is the larger total? Step number 2, we have 1 lakh on credit side as larger total, so you will put this total over here. The larger total was 1 lakh, so you have putting 1 lakh in total of credit side, and same amount you are going to put on your debit side as well. Here there will be an objection. You can say total of credit side was okay, 1 lakh, but why we have written total of 1 lakh rupees on debit side while there is nothing amount, no amount is present on debit side? This is the way how would we balance. Now 2 steps are completed. Focus upon those 2 steps. What we have done: total of credit side, total of debit side, comparison, larger amount, and we have put larger amount on total of both sides. Which side is less? That was debit side, and whatever is less you will write over here as a balance. And how would you know how much amount is less? You will subtract smaller amount from the larger amount. Larger amount was 1 lakh and smaller amount was 0. Difference of total of debit and credit side is going to be written over here. Difference was 1 lakh. You will write it as balance with an additional word of 2. Here you have got the balance. So this was your total, what you have written over here, and now it's time to brought down this balance. Again, what we have done in cash column, in cash ledger, will be doing the same. Balance was 1 lakh and you will be transferring or bringing it down to the opposite side. Balance is written on debit side, you will brought down on credit side, and you will be need to write 1 lakh on credit side. Write it as balance, but you will write brought down as well over here. So in this way you have completed your ledger. How had you calculated this balance? Difference of larger amount and smaller amount. Please just memorize it. First step, calculate balances. Larger balance pick and write on total of both side the larger balance, and choose the smaller side and calculate the difference of smaller and larger amount. Name it as balance and brought down it to the opposite side, same amount. In this way we have completed our capital ledger. So mark it as it has been done. Two ledgers we have completed. This was your rough work. You are in no need to write it, just erase it. Now it's time to make our third ledger. What we will do, we will write the same procedure, same headings for the next ledger as well. As you know, first element was cash, ledger is completed. Second element was capital, ledger is completed. Third element is furniture. So now you are going to make ledger of furniture. So instead of capital, I am going to write furniture over here. This way your third ledger is going to complete. It's better to put the numbers as well. This was your first ledger. Capital was your second ledger. Now furniture is your third ledger. Rule is similar. We will see where furniture is present. Again, it's the same thing. Furniture is present in January 2 only, and you will not be able to see furniture at elsewhere. So we have only one entry which includes furniture, and we will make ledger of furniture right now. Here is your ledger of furniture. Furniture is present in second entry where there were two elements, but only one element is associated with furniture. 20,000 furniture is debit. So what you are going to do, you will write 20,000 on debit side of furniture ledger and see what is the reference. Here is your furniture. What is written on the opposite side? That is 2 cash. So you will be putting 2 cash over here. 2 cash and write down its date. It was furniture 20,000. Date is 2. You will put date over here. So please note it down. There was only one entry which was including furniture, and that entry has been posted into the ledger. No other entry is having furniture. It means we have completed 20,000. We have completed posting furniture account. It's time to balance. Hopefully you remember the step number 1 is to calculate the total of debit side which is 20,000. This work you are doing on a rough page. Total of credit side, there is nothing written on credit side. The total of credit side is 0. Total of debit side is 20,000. Now you are in need to put totals over here. When you have summed up all amounts present on credit side, all amount present on debit side, you are now in need to make comparison. Which amount is the larger amount, 20,000 or 0? 20,000 is the larger amount, so you will put on total of debit side 20,000, and you are going to put the same 20,000 on credit side as well. Step number 2 completed. Step number 1 is to calculate total and then make comparison. Step number 2 is make comparison. Larger amount you will pick and you will write on total of both sides the larger amount. Third step is to calculate the balance. You will choose the smaller side. Smaller side was credit side as its total was 0, and here you will calculate the balance And how you will calculate the balance? You will subtract. Here you will write the balance. You will subtract what? Smaller amount from the larger amount. Larger amount was 20,000 and you will subtract smaller amount which was 0. Here you have got the balance. This was your total now and you have highlighted. The last step is to brought down this balance. As balance is written on credit side, you will brought down it to the opposite side. Opposite side is debit, so you will be writing 20,000 over here as balance and you will write it balance but with an additional word of brought down. These amounts were written as rough, so you will be deleting these amounts as no longer they are needed. 1 second. So here ledger for furniture is also completed. You can mark it as it has been done. Since we are making so many ledgers, so if somebody wants to understand once more, we will be doing the same procedure for several times. 3 ledgers are completed over here. So we are now going to make our next ledger and we will see what next word is present in journal. As you have seen, we had completed cash ledger, we have completed capital ledger, and we are now have completed the ledger for furniture as well. Cash is already completed. We are now up to purchase. So fourth ledger which we are making is purchase ledger. Okay, change the name of ledger. It is purchase ledger. Procedure is very similar. We are not doing anything different, so it's better for you. We are going to repeat everything. This is your fourth ledger which we are making. Please let me correct it. Purchase. Now you will see first entry purchase is present. What would be your answer? No, leave it. Second entry furniture to cash. Is purchase present over here? No, your answer would be leave it. Third entry we have purchase on debit side. Go to the debit side of your ledger and write down 60,000 which is written over here in journal entry. This was your purchase. 60,000 was written on debit side. What is written on the opposite side of purchase? That is to cash. So you will write to cash as reference. On debit side, put its date. What was date? January 3rd. So write down 3rd over here. Okay, look at other entries as well. This is your next entry. Is purchase present over here? No, leave it. Purchase present over here? Your answer will be no, leave it. It means only entry number January 3 is having purchase and we have already posted. That means ledger of purchase is completed in respect of posting. All entries which were including purchase we have posted. It's time to balance it. Now you people tell me what is first step. To get sum of all amounts present on debit side, there is only one amount. So sum of debit side is 60,000 and then you see what is present on credit side, nothing. It means total of credit side is 0. First step is completed. Total of debit side, total of credit side. Now make comparison. Which side is larger side? Larger amount is 60,000. So you are going to post 60,000 on your debit side and same amount you will be posting on credit side as well because it was the larger amount. So larger amount you are need to post on both sides, but here total is not 60,000. Here you will write the balance. How you will balance? You will subtract smaller amount from the larger total. Smaller total will be subtracted from the larger total. Larger total is 60,000 and you will subtract smaller total which is 0. Here you have got the balance and you will put lines of total here. You have total 60,000 and you will put lines of total here as well. So what you have 60,000 total on both sides. You have calculated your balance as well. Write down it as buy balance. And next step is to brought down this balance, and rule is very simple. You have a written balance on credit side, post this balance to the opposite side again. So you are going to write your amount of balance on opposite side, write it as to balance but with an additional word of brought down. These totals you have done was a rough work. Now they are not needed. You may erase them. In this way, your purchase ledger has also been completed. Mark it as it has been done. So 4 ledgers are completed. As you can see, what we are doing, whatever element is present on journal, we are making its ledger. Cash was present, ledger is completed. Capital was present, ledger is completed. Furniture was present, ledger is completed. Cash is already completed. Purchase, we have recently completed the ledger. Next entry is having 2 elements, cash and sale. Cash ledger has already been completed. So the second element is sale. We will now be making ledger of sales, for which what you in need, you will be writing same heading in the next side. Acha, there is easy for me to create these ledger, and I can making the copy of previous ledger and posting next, just editing it and making it the next ledger. But for you, you will have to write everything again and again. Next ledger is your sales ledger. All headings are similar. I have copied from the previous ledger. This is your fifth ledger. So what we will do, we will see in how many entries sales is present. First entry, sale is not present, leave it. Second entry, sale is not present, leave it. Third entry, sale is not present, leave it. Fourth entry, sale is present, yes, and that is credited by 80,000. You will go to the credit side of your ledger and will write 80,000 over here. All right. So sale was credited, we have credited the amount. And what is written on opposite side of sale, that is cash. So you will use the word cash as your reference with an additional word of buy. Look at its date, entry of sale, date is 5th, put 5 in date column. Now after 5th entry, we have only one entry and sale is not present. It means posting of sale has also been completed. It's time to balance it. Since we are doing the same thing for 5th time, I am very hopeful that you know the procedure. First, write down the sum of all the amounts present on credit side. There is only one amount, so you have written total over here, and total was 80,000. All right, sum of total is over here. Do the same thing. Sum of debit side, there is nothing present over here, so total is 0. Okay, now the second step is to make comparison. Here total is 80,000 and total of debit side is 0. Which sum is the larger sum? That is 80,000. So you will put 80,000 on credit side, and same total you are supposed to write on debit side as well. In spite of the fact that there is no amount present on the debit side, still you are writing total over here. This is your total of credit side and this is total of debit side, and here there is time to balance it. Which side we will choose to balance? The smaller side. The total of debit side was 0, it means this side is smaller side. And how you will calculate the balance? You will subtract smaller total from the larger total. Larger total was 80,000, which we have written on rough page, and smaller total was of debit side, which was 0. Here you have got the balance. Write down it as to balance, and these amounts are your total. Highlight them, and next step is to brought down this balance. As usual, balance is written over here, so you will brought down it to the opposite side, which is credit side. So write down same balance which is written on debit side, same amount you will write it, but with a different reference. You will write buy balance with an additional word of brought down. Here sale ledger is also completed. Now at this stage you can make the comparison. When you were making purchase ledger, you have brought down it to the debit side. When you are making sale ledger, you are bringing it down to the opposite side. But keep it in mind, your first balance will be at the side which is smaller side. Here you can see the smaller side was, here you can see smaller side was credit, so you have calculated balance over here, and here you can see smaller side was debit, so you have calculated first balance on debit side. So it depends upon which side is smaller side, you will choose that side and will calculate your balance on smaller side. In this way cash ledger is also completed. You will mark it as it has been done, and since total of both sides were written just for the reference, it is now unnecessary to be written over here. You can erase them. So now you can see there were only few entries present in the journal, but what we are doing, we are continuously making ledgers. Rule is very simple. How many ledgers we will make? Any element with different name present in journal, we will make ledger of that. Cash was different, we made ledger. Capital was different, we made ledger. Furniture was different, we have made ledger. Purchase and sales, we have made ledger. Now last entry is having salaries. The last ledger would be made for the salaries. Come over here, and what I will do, I will just copy headings of previous ledger and will post these headings for the next ledger. I will just edit and will change the heading. We are now making salaries, ledger of salaries. It is our sixth ledger. I'm putting sixth ledger over here. Remaining everything is same. So here we will see in how many entries salaries is present. I'm just trying to make you understood, while everyone knows that salary is present only in last entry. But we will have to see if this is your first entry, salary is present, no, leave it. Salary is present, no, leave it. Salaries is present, no, leave it. From here to here you will see all the entries present in your question, and you will search salaries. Wherever salary is present, you are going to post. Since this is very short question and we can see all the journal entries in one single screen, salaries was present in fifth entry. There is only one entry. Two elements are present over here, but salaries, ledger of salaries we are making, so we will put salaries. It is debited by 10,000. We will choose the debit side of the salaries and will put 10,000 in amount column. Now see what is written on the opposite side of salaries, that is cash. So you will write to cash in particular column as a reference. What was its date? Date was January 6. So give date and put in date column. Alright, now as you know, there is no other entry which does have salaries. Only one entry was including salaries. We have already posted the amount of salaries. It's time to balance. This is your sixth ledger. I'm very hopeful that you do know the procedure and step. First step is to calculate sum of all the amounts present on debit side. The sum is 10,000, and you will calculate the same sum on the credit side, but nothing is present over here. You will write 0. Sum of credit side is 0. Sum of debit side is 10,000. Make comparison. The larger amount is 10,000. You will put the larger amount, which is 10,000, on debit side, and you will be posting the same larger amount on credit side as well. This would be considered total of debit side, and as you have mentioned the larger total on credit side as well, you will say the total of credit side should not be equal to 10,000 as there was no amount. So how will you manage it? You will write a term balance over here, and how this balance would be calculated, you will subtract smaller total from the larger total. Larger total was 10,000. You will subtract smaller total from it. Smaller total was 0. Here you have got the balance. How you have calculated? You have subtracted smaller total from the larger total. Okay. Once again, smaller total was 10,000 and you have subtract larger total was 10,000 and smaller total was 0. You have subtracted both, and this way you have got your balance. The next step is to brought down this balance. A rule is very simple. Wherever you have calculated the balance, you will go to the opposite side. Now opposite side is debit. You will write same balance on the opposite side and will write by to balance but with an additional word of brought down. This way your ledger for the salaries is also completed. Mark it as it has been done, and since these totals were written as your rough work, you can erase it. They are no longer needed. So all 6 ledgers you have completed. This was your first ledger. You have calculated its balance. You have capital ledger and you have calculated its balance. Furniture, you have calculated the balance. All 6 ledgers are completed. This is not the end. You are now in need to make your trial balance so that you can confirm that all the entries have been put in proper manner. Alright guys, I have made the headings for the trial balance. At first you will write trial balance, and there are 1 2 3 4 columns associated with the trial balance, where you will write in the first column the number of ledger, then name of the ledger, and if it is balance is written on debit side, you will write on debit side. If balance is written on credit, you will write the balance on credit side. Rule is very simple, and when we will make, the method would be clarified in a better way. This is your first ledger, so you will put number first, and you are posting amount of first ledger. Write down one over here. And what is name of your ledger? That is cash. Put cash over here. All right, and now you are required to write its amount. Please focus, I need your attention. This is your balance brought down and this is your original balance. You will be focusing only on balance brought down. Have you understood? Your balance brought down, you will be focusing upon balance which is brought down, not the original balance. See at which side you have brought down this balance. It is your debit side. As we have mentioned, this side is debit. On debit side you have brought down your balance of cash 90,000, so you will choose debit side. This is your debit side and this is your credit side. On debit side you will write the balance and how much is amount of balance, that is 90,000. I have highlighted with the green. 90,000 will be posted on the debit side. In this way first ledger is recorded in trial balance. Now see the second ledger. What is the name of second ledger? You can see over here, it's capital. Write down its name, capital, over here. So see where is balance brought down. Here you can see it's balance brought down, and which side it is. As you have seen, it is your credit side. You have brought down balance of capital ledger on credit side. So you will be recording capital amount on credit side. How much was amount of balance? That was 1 lakh. Okay, so put 1 lakh over here. It's time to see third ledger. See what is the name of third ledger. This is your second, this is your third ledger, and that is furniture. Write down name of furniture, name of ledger furniture in detail column. Go to the ledger and see where balance is being brought down. Balance is brought down on the debit side 20,000. So you will go to the debit side and will write 20,000 in trial balance in front of furniture. 3 ledgers are recorded in trial balance. Now see what is your fourth ledger. This is your number 4 ledger, that is purchase. Write down the name first. Ledger name was purchase. Now see where its balance brought down is present. This is your fourth ledger. Balance brought down is here. It is debit side 60,000. So put 60,000 on debit side of trial balance. in front of purchase. 4 ledgers are recorded in trial balance. Now we will see the fifth ledger, which is sales. So we will put fifth on the number column, and the name of ledger is sales. Now see how much there the balance is being brought down. This is your balance and it has been brought down on credit side, 80,000. So you will post 80,000 on credit side. In this way, recording of fifth ledger is completed. See what is next ledger, that is salaries. It's number 6 ledger. Name salaries in detail column, it is ledger number 6. See where its balance brought down is. This is your ledger salaries. Balance brought down is on debit side, 10,000. So you will choose debit side and we write down amount 10,000 of balance of salaries. We have put this balance. Okay, recording of all the ledgers is completed in trial balance. Now it's time to take sum of both sides. So I will take help from the Excel. I will ask Excel to make sum of all the amounts present on debit side, and with one program it would calculate the sum of debit side. And now it's time to calculate the sum of credit side. Here your magic will arrive. If you will take the sum of debit side, it would automatically be equalized with the sum of credit side. That means sum of debit side would be equal to the sum of credit side. Let's take the sum present on credit side. This way you have calculated the sum, and now you can see sum of credit side is equal to sum of debit side. It has automatically been equalized. This way you can confirm that all journal entries, first step was the journal entries, all journal entries are good and right, their amounts are written in proper way. And what we have done, we have made 6 ledgers and we have posted several amounts. We have summed up several amounts and we have calculated several balances. All these balances were posted in your trial balance and amounts were taken from the ledgers. When you have summed up, total was absolutely good. Both totals, total of debit side and total of credit side, are equalized. It means trial balance is also good. This is your total of debit side and credit side. After calculation of total, it means your ledgers are absolutely okay and completed. This way, whole question, whole illustration is being completed. First step was to make journal. Here you have made your journal. Second step was to make ledgers. 6 ledgers are completed with their balances. Third step is to make trial balance, and trial balance is also completed. Hopefully you people have understood. Even after this much time, if you have any query, I am requesting you, you are very open to comment, you are very open to message, you are very open to meet directly as well. The students which we are dealing with, you can meet directly. If you have any query, please ask about your questions, and I am very hopeful I will be available to give you answer instantly. We have completed illustration number 1. In future we will be meeting again for the solution of any other question. Up till then, please permit me, take care of yourself. I am requesting you to pray for me as well. Thank you very much for your time. Allah Hafiz.